The goal of this podcast is to help you break in and thrive in advertising. And we do that every single week by sharing the stories and advice of those rocking it on the other side. And welcome back to ADjunct, the segment of our podcast where we interview the best advertising educators across the country, if not the world, all at zero cost to your ears. So we're highlighting educational institutions and the lessons that they teach to help you out. And this week, you will hear a conversation with Vann Graves. Vann is the executive director at the famous VCU Brandcenter. So what do we talk about? We talk about Brandcenter, how they're preparing students for the industry. And Vann shares his insights on the program, curriculum, alumni network, and the industry's evolving demands. He emphasizes, and VCU emphasizes, practical skills, craft, and the strong support system for their students. So we get into how VCU Brandcenter is a 2-year accredited master's degree program and how it's different from portfolio schools, how it's here in Richmond, how they have the Martin Agency in their backyard, essentially, and how they also have arts and letters here in Richmond. I think you're going to like it. People, if you're thinking about higher education, we talk about the pros and cons in this episode. It's an ongoing theme conversation that I talk about on the show. So happy to reach out. If you want to reach out and talk more, happy to have that conversation with you. You can also connect with Vann directly on LinkedIn, and he shares how to reach out to him or any of the professors at VCU Brandcenter. You're going to like it. Now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering ADjunct podcast segment. And as usual, I'm your accomplice, Geno Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How the heck are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Here at the Brandcenter today, we're having our recruiter session. So there's a lot of buzz going on today. So good day, definitely.
Definitely. This place is insane. I mean, I've talked about this place for years now. I've interviewed Kaylee Cantrell back in the day. I don't believe she works here anymore.
She's retired. Sadly, Kaylee is one of the bright stars that has kind of moved on and into retirement, but yeah, we miss her a lot.
Great. Yeah. So we're here to talk about, I'm here to hire a strategist. And by the time that this airs, hopefully we met a strategist that likes us. We like them for Havas Chicago. So a little teaser. So
I'm sure you will find some. Well, we've got some amazing students, so I'm not worried about you getting what you need.
Perfect. So I'm here representing Havas, and I was like, well, Vann, I have to talk with you. And we found some time during the excitement here. So we're taking about 30, 40 minutes here to interview you, talk about the Brandcenter, what makes it different from portfolio schools. We'll get into that conversation as well as your background. Let's start with you first, Vann. You're the executive director at VCU Brandcenter. Is that correct?
That is correct. This is my 6th year. So we're completing my 6th year here at the Brandcenter. So it's been an amazing journey.
So you've seen 3 cohorts start and go here? Is that?
Yeah, about right. And a pandemic in the middle of it. So
wonderful.
I had been here about a year and a half, and then we had the COVID outbreak.
Lovely. How did you guys handle that?
You know, I will say we were lucky as a team because we had about a year and a half to get to know each other and really kind of set roles before the pandemic, and had some really good plans in place from a team on what we needed to do and execute for the future. And including, we've got a great team who are our IT partners, and they were prepared. I mean, it took us about 4 days to pivot, all classes online, make sure our professors did all that. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. And so again, but for the amazing work of the team here, we wouldn't have been able to do it, but they did it a lot faster than I even thought humanly possible.
There we go.
That's why I started this podcast, because there was an issue when I was a senior at University of Illinois studying advertising. It seemed like the industry was shocked, of course. Jobs seemed to go away. Internships ceased to exist. So this is how we started this thing. I love that you guys were able to pivot, help your students. So
it was, I want to, but it was hard. Like it was hard for students. They weren't ready. I mean, I look at the class of 2020, especially.
Yeah.
And they suffered, for lack of a better way.
We're a little messed up.
Yeah.
We're a little messed up.
I mean, it was rough for them. And we weren't able to, because they found out that there wasn't going to be a recruiter session, that we weren't having graduation just before they were supposed to come back from spring break. And so it was just hard for them. And then the economy was wonky. So, we tried to do as much as we can. But it was definitely a
virtual sessions and all like it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Luckily, we're here.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
Hamas is here, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of amazing agencies here today. I want to learn about Brandcenter. Tell me about like somebody who's never heard of it before. What do you guys do? What makes you guys different?
So we're a 2-year graduate program that focuses on marketing, branding, advertising. And, founded a little over 25 years ago by Diane Cook-Tench. And we've had some, amazing directors. So I stand on the shoulders of giants, including Helene Spivak, Rick Boyko. So there's some great people who have led this school, but the focus is really to, bring students, especially those who may have studied, mass media or just English, and really help them understand what advertising is and up their game. And so it's for those folks that may have some undergraduate advertising experience, but also for others who want to enter into the industry as well, who may have come out of other industries.
So I've heard of like integrated marketing communications, and those are great high level undergraduate degrees, but when they lock in and they know they want to work at an ad agency, or they want to work in-house for an agency, and they need to lock in and tailor their portfolio, who they are, their skill set, they'll come here. Potentially.
Correct. It's an opportunity to truly focus on the craft. It goes from fundamentals to really creative thinking and creative problem solving. So that, we're attached to a business school. And so it's really important that students know that, yes, there's the craft of the creative, but there's also the understanding of what strategy is, what brand management is. Because your clients want to know what their ROI is. They want to know, the business side.
Right.
There's more competition for the creative side today than it's ever been before. You've got content creators, you've got platforms that make creative easier to execute. But if you don't have that business acumen or that business experience, it's harder to get ahead of the pack.
Right. I talked to two students already this morning, and I understood that right away. And when they were walking through some of their campaigns, they understood the business problem right away. So that stood out to me very, very clearly. So nice work there. Run me through then what somebody can expect. They enroll here. They might have some undergraduate degree that's in advertising, English, maybe philosophy. Maybe they did something a little bit adjacent to that. They enroll here for the first time. What's going to happen? What does this look like if they're in? You have to pick a route. So what routes can you pick from?
Right. So art direction, copywriting, strategy, experience design, and who am I forgetting?
Brand management.
Creative brand management.
What is that? So tell me about that one. So I think the other ones are pretty self-explanatory.
So creative brand management is really the focus on making sure that folks are good account leads.
Yep.
And also understand creative, but also give them opportunity to be great clients. So if someone wants to be on the business side purely, but wants to be a client, running and working with agencies, they really understand the business from the inside out.
So this is kind of like a stab at an MBA.
A little bit, because I could see from the marketing podcasts that I've done, a lot of the marketing managers at a big brand, let's say Nike, they might have an MBA at Kellogg in Chicago. So would you say this could be?
I'd be very careful, to be frank.
If they wanted to go into the marketing side of the
marketing, but
they want to be marketing managers, this could be
a step in. Yeah. It would give them, again, the foundational work to be able to apply for those roles.
Got it. That's interesting. But also bread and butter agency, in-house, creative team, they can be an account lead. How do they get that experience? Are you getting them real clients to work with?
So that's the great part about the Brand Center. So we have a lot of up-at-bats. So we have in-class live clients that students work with, but we also have sprints that we do as well.
I saw the Arby's one.
Yes, correct.
So you brought in the Arby's clients.
And they gave us an assignment. Our students compete within.
Gotta get competitive.
Yeah. And so they compete amongst themselves. And then the client chooses the best work. And a lot of times it gets produced.
And where does the brand manager come in? The creative brand management.
So again, that student is really working with making sure that the team is following all the rules around what the request is from the client, making sure that things are on time and done well. So that's the person who kind of owns the wrangling of the cats in a lot of ways. And it's a big job because, as you know, when you're working with teams, there's a lot of personalities, but there's also deadlines. And so it's more than, a project manager. It is a team manager, a team builder. It's coordination, it's calendar building. So it's all the pieces that come together in real time for real clients.
I love it. I would want to do that.
You're always welcome. Come on.
Okay. All right. So you got that, you pick your route, whatever it might be. Then you got a 2-year program ahead. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's a 2-year program. And it's a rigorous program. I mean, there's a lot of work. It's not for the faint at heart. Like it really is. If you want to do it,
nobody's working on the side too much.
It's hard.
Maybe like
you could do something,
day job or night job.
Yeah,
like
you might something small, but it's it's a full commitment.
Yeah.
But it's really what you get out of it is what you put into it. And students, with any program, you may have a student or two who's like, well, they don't really take it seriously and they go under the radar a little bit. But the reality is, you might get that first job, but if you don't have the skills, you're not going to keep it. And it's important that, when you come in, that it's we're committed to your success, but you also have to be committed to your success.
Right. The name, and if you finish the program, the name of this program will get you in the room with recruiters and have these conversations, and then they get in and evaluate the work.
Correct.
So I always feel like one of the easiest routes to break in, especially strategy, is checking out VCU Brandcenter. It's got the structure, it's got the alumni base. It has the master's degree. That's super important to me. Of course, I want students to know this early on, like, freshman year of college, if you can identify your undergraduate year that you can identify you want to be a strategist, then we can work hard to make sure like you can get a job right away. So I think students, they think that if they show up here and they expect that structure, then they can just walk through it.
Yeah. And I don't want to scare anyone off. I mean, but rigor is important.
Right.
And, our goal is to ensure you're prepared. And with that preparation, there's a lot of support. And so unlike an undergraduate program, I think sometimes students almost feel like they're in competition with their professors. Like, I've got to do this. It's about this A, and they're chasing grades. And so they're kind of focusing on the grade versus the learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the practical skills.
Right.
Our focus is, no, we need you to learn the practical skills. You'll get the grade. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get the grade. The grade part is easy. The hard part is learning how to think outside the box, how to push yourself, and come with it.
Mhm.
And that's where the work comes in. So our professors are less like classic professors and more like your colleagues.
Right.
How do we solve this business problem? We want you to be successful.
Mhm.
Our goal isn't to, make sure you get that B or that D or our goal. You're going to get the A if you're doing the work.
And no recruiter, I'm not going to be, when I'm looking for a strategist today, I'm not going to ask them, what's your GPA?
Exactly. You want to know if the person who you're talking to has the skills and can come with it.
Right.
And the best part is because the student walks away with two things, a portfolio, but they also walk away with a master's degree from the School of Business. It gives them a credential as well as their portfolio. And the value of both of those is huge because you will see today, the portfolios are strong portfolios, but also the master's degree is something that as a credential that helps you. I found even with my master's degree, it wasn't until I was a ECD running a business that I started to lean on that a little more and that learning. Earlier in your career, you might not as much. It's a great to have, but as people are evaluating you and going, well, should this person be promoted versus the other person? And they're looking at your background and what they can sell as an agency or as a company. It's a great to have.
You will not find me interviewing very many portfolio schools today on this podcast that do not offer a master's degree. Tentatively, I might change my mind in the future, of course, but that is huge. That's why I recommend Brandcenter. If somebody's looking for that structure and they know they want to be in strategy or art direction or copywriting, if they're very committed and they know they need to have this portfolio, I will tell them, check out VCU Brandcenter. So
no, that's great. And I think the third thing that you get, you alluded to it earlier, is you get the degree, you get the portfolio, but you have an amazing alumni base.
It's insane. The alumni base is incredible. I mean, how many chief strategy officers would you?
I mean, I don't want to overstate it.
I will then. And it seems like every agency, their chief strategy officer comes from Brandcenter. We strategists come just from from what I've seen. I've interviewed a lot of people, so I know that. I know some like the Circus in Miami Ed School. Like they produce some amazing art directors. I'm sure you guys do as well. But to me, the brand that I see when I think about VCU Brandcenter is top of the world, best top notch strategists.
We have a lot of, keep killing my throat, but we have a lot of amazing alums that are strategists. Again, CBMs, XDs. These are folks that are all over the industry and have impact in the industry. And when you look at, our barometer in the industry, sometimes the barometer is a Super Bowl, and consistently, we have 20 spots in the Super Bowl that alums have touched.
Right.
And, we're making an impact in the industry, which is huge. And it's because of this amazing alumni network. And our alums hire other alums because they're like, I know what you got at the Brandcenter.
Right.
And they also hold each other accountable and mentor each other while they're on the job.
I mean, do you even have to market this?
No, we definitely have to market it, but we're careful around, it's hard it's the balance of being higher ed and serving an industry. And so we've got standards we have to follow for the academic side, for sure, and balance that with the needs of the industry, which are constantly changing.
And curriculum is in academia, from what I've heard, is not easy to work with, to make fast changes.
Absolutely. And this is where the power of our faculty lies. So they look at what's going on in the world, in the industry, and really an annual basis. Now it's gotten even faster because things are moving faster. looking at how can we improve our curriculum to suit our students, but also suit our recruiters.
Right.
Because it's a balance. Students are coming in on one end going, what do we need? And you've got recruiters on the other side saying, we need this.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be ready to serve the students so that they're, industry ready.
How do you do?
It's always moving, right? So we're always moving to ensure that, our curriculum isn't stale. We do that to make sure that, again, this annual review of curriculum, we just finished a deep dive on our curriculum a few months ago to make sure, because AI is, the conversation du jour.
Mm-hmm.
And what will that impact look like? How will that affect our students? And we've already taken the stance that, well, it's another tool.
Right.
And our job is to ensure that our students master that tool.
Right.
So, for example, and someone would argue, why would you do that? You have Midjourney, but we just purchased classic cameras so that our students understand what lighting means, so that when they're writing those prompts, they understand, because it's teach the foundation, then they can use whatever tool they want.
Right. There you go.
To
I like that.
To build beyond. And you don't want the tool to lead you. Your job is to lead the tool. And if you don't understand the tool, you're not going to be able to execute the tool at a high level.
I love that stance. Perfectly said.
So, again, our professors work hard at making sure that that is a part of curriculum.
So somebody enrolling here and doing hard work for 2 years, I guess, what are the other amenities or what other advice do you tell students specifically? Like, how do you get a job?
So the best part, our one of our secret sauces would be Ashley Summerdall. She's someone who's worked here for a long time. She is in charge of student and alumni affairs here at the Brandcenter. She's also the associate director here. This industry is a relationship industry. And she has figured out how to basically matchmake. So she really works with the recruiters and talks to the recruiters. What do you need? But it's not this blanket, oh, well, here's a body and let's just throw it at the job. It is matching the student's personality with the culture of the agency or the firm. And with that, then you have a longer retention rate at the agency or the company, the hiring company.
I mean, a lot of higher ed institutions will tout 90% of their recent grads get jobs. I wonder what the turnover rate of those jobs are at the general institution. So I would imagine here that people are sticking within the same field, definitely advertising within the same niche, whether it's art direction or copywriting, they're probably going to be in that forever.
Yeah, no, usually folks do stay in it. I think it's interesting, especially now with the gig economy. There's a lot of folks that also will spend 2 or 3 years working for an agency, and then they go ahead and they move to running their own thing or creating.
Oh, of course.
You have a bunch of alums that are like, hey, let's start our own thing. And so that happens a lot. And they become entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't stray a lot from the industry in their chosen field.
Right.
It happens, but not as much as other schools.
Love it. And how did you get here?
So interesting. So I started 6 years ago. My career started in Richmond, Virginia. And this is where I was born and raised. And
you like it? Where should I go eat later?
Yeah, there's a lot of great places here. We need to head up to Scott's Addition. But there are, the reason I never thought I'd come back to Richmond, but the Brandcenter was such a strong pull.
Where did you leave to?
So I left here and I went to graduate school because there was no Brandcenter.
Okay.
At Pratt Institute. I think the Brandcenter started my second year.
Okay. Just missed it.
Well, and so
it's probably good to get out.
No, it's great to leave home, and I wouldn't trade that experience. So I left, went to Pratt Institute, and then started my internship at BBDO in New York.
Got it.
And I was there. Basically in the old days, so I worked my way up from intern, and I left BBDO about 15 years later as a CD, creative director.
Art or copy?
So it's interesting. BBDO at the time was a writer's agency, and I started as an art director, but realized that, well, you better learn how to write to progress.
It's a writer's agency.
It's a writer's agency.
Okay.
And
you could stand if you're a really good art director.
Oh yeah. 100%. But the writers at BBDO at the time, especially, were they were intellectuals first and creative second.
Yes.
And they were classically trained writers, or you'd have folks that were comedians by trade. My mentor, Phil Duesenberry, was, he was at that point, he was the chairman for BBDO, but, wrote the screenplay for The Natural, a Robert Redford film.
Wow.
And they, even though their careers, they got on the business side and they were doing all this, they always stayed true to being creatives and focused on the craft. And that was something that also resonates here at the Brand Center. Focus on the craft. You can always grow, but if you have the foundation and the fundamentals, you'll go far. So I was there 15 years, then I left, and I joined the military right after September 11th. So my career kind of veered for a couple of years, and then came back to BBDO, stayed for a little bit longer, and then went to a small agency called the Uniworld Group in New York. They had the Marines account, and I was like, well, I'm now in military experience.
Makes sense.
And I wanted to do that.
What military branch were you in?
So Army.
Gotcha.
And did that for a couple of years. And I got a call from McCann in New York, and McCann, wanted me to come in and help work on the Army account because they had, so I had to take that job.
Right.
And stayed at McCann for 7-8 years, and worked my way up, and I guess left as ECD, global ECD. And so we were running Cigna, Army, Lockheed Martin, and I'm missing one. Oh, and American Airlines.
Oh, there we go. Those are great brands.
And so I ran that team, and then things got derailed. I met a girl, and she had her dream job down in Tennessee. I said, I'll support you. I'll follow you. And so I followed
That's
her.
why I'm not going to talk to any girls ever.
People, but oddly enough, it worked out because that year, the last project I worked at McCann, won big at Cannes.
Yeah.
And I got a call from the folks at JWT, and they were like, hey, we're looking for a CCO. And, I went ahead and applied for it. So I can't travel to New York. I can't do that. And they're like, well, you can work out of the Atlanta office. So I ran the Atlanta office. And it was great.
It worked out.
It was fantastic. I was there for a couple of years, and then got a call about the Brand Center.
Boom.
And
it was time.
It was time.
Where were you at? What were the key decision factors for coming here?
The reputation of the school,
Of course.
the people that are here.
On your side of life, though.
Oh, so what?
Why?
Why I came? I came? Okay, I see.
Yeah.
My wife was like, you want to do this. I could see.
And you had the master's degree already from Pratt.
I had at that point, so I had a master's degree at Pratt. So we were married. So at that point I had 2 masters.
Okay.
Because I love education. Much of our earlier conversation, like education is really important. And so came here, and so because of her support, and I literally commuted for about 1.5 years until COVID hit from Chattanooga, Tennessee to the Brand Center.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was rough, but well worth it again. This place is amazing.
I could tell you like it.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, then I think it speaks for itself, and your background and your advice. And, I think the definitely consider VCU Brandcenter for everybody listening. We're talking aspiring advertisers out there. So I don't think there's a more perfect podcast for them and for you to be on, for us to talk about this. So if anybody has questions, how can they reach out to you? Ashley, maybe, who's according to,
I think the best person, you can always reach out to me. Maybe the easiest thing, reach out on LinkedIn or send me an email here. But we also have our missions team, Emma Barone, who's our lead. Fantastic. So anyway, just reach out. We have, check out the website, check out what we do, and we'd love to talk to anybody. So students can reach out to any of our professors, especially if they're undergrads, to get information around concentrations.
Right. They're thinking art direction. They can talk to an art direction.
They can talk to our art direction chair.
Right.
And so, and we can have them talk to other professors depending on what their area of interest is. So
get a little on it, maybe sit in another class. I'm sure they
absolutely.
Perfect.
Students are always welcome to come visit. And we can set that up for them.
Nice here. It's very nice here.
We like it.
How could you not? We didn't even talk about like the Martin Agency being here.
The Martin Agency down the road. Arts and Letters is, not too far from here. Yeah. So we also have, smaller agencies as well and consultancies in the area. So, which, Arts and Letters founded by alums.
Yep.
Brandcenter alums. And we have a lot of alums, that teach here as well. And truly give our students exposure to what the industry is and hold the students accountable and to, hold them, I should say, accountable to a standard to really focus on here's what the craft is and here's what great work is.
I love it. Man, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. I hope people reach out. If anybody's nervous, I can help make introductions.
That'd be great. Yeah. And hey, it's an honor to be here. And I'm excited to, continue to listen to your podcast.
Heck yeah. All right. Take care.
Take care.